It's Wednesday morning, and Jesus again walks from Bethany to Jerusalem, specifically towards the temple. Mark chapter 11, verses 20 and 21 tells us that Jesus and his apostles walk past the fig tree again, and they see that it has withered, it has died since Jesus cursed it the day before. Jesus then goes into the temple, and just as he is arriving, the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders all come to question him. That's Mark chapter 11, verse 27. Matthew chapter 22, verses 15 through 46 breaks this entire conversation down. Matthew says first it's the Herodians, then it's the Sadducees, followed by the Pharisees. Now, as these three groups come to question Jesus, these are not sincere questions. They're not recognizing Jesus for who he is and trying to learn from him. They're trying to trap Jesus. They want him to contradict himself. So they ask him about taxes. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar? Jesus answers this in Matthew chapter 22, verse 21, saying, "Render to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." Then the Sadducees, upon hearing this, they don't believe in the resurrection. Matthew points that out to us in chapter 22, verse 23. And so they're going to specifically ask about that resurrection, trying to trick Jesus up in their questioning. They ask Jesus about a man who has 7 brothers, or there's 7 brothers involved. And one of them marries this woman and dies without giving her any children. So then it would be the brother's responsibility to try to give her children. And what if all 7 of them try, but none of them can? And then they all die. Whose wife would she be in the resurrection? Jesus answers in such a way that shows that the Sadducees don't understand the nature of resurrected life. He also silences them. I love this. By quoting from the Pentateuch, right, which was written by Moses, because that's what the Sadducees follow, Moses' writings. And he says this: when God said, "I am," right, in present tense, "I am the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob," and Moses, he's saying that to Moses, they're dead. Abraham and Isaac and Jacob are dead. So God says, "I am the God," over these people that have already died. And God is not the God of the dead, he's the God of the living. He's present tense, their God. And they live after death. Seeing Jesus silence the Sadducees causes the Pharisees to then step in. And the Pharisees ask Jesus, "What is the greatest commandment?" And Jesus answers them, "You are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And the second is like it. You're to love your neighbor as yourself." And there's a lot more to these conversations. I'm summarizing them, but in Matthew chapter 22, verse 46, I love this. After these 3 questionings of Jesus, Matthew says, no one dared to question him anymore. You see, they can't trick him. They can't trap him. They can't confuse him. But he will let them kill him. That's coming quickly. From there, Jesus leaves the temple and he's going to head back to Bethany. And on his way back to Bethany, he'll have to go over the Mount of Olives and crest the hill and then the 2-mile journey down into Bethany. And doing so, as he heads into the Mount of Olives, you can see the temple from there and what it all looks like and the beauty of it and the massive picture of it. And Matthew chapter 24, verses 1 through 3 tells us that he, Jesus, sits on the Mount of Olives and teaches his disciples. Many know this as the Olivet Discourse, where Jesus has said that the temple will be destroyed and not one stone will be left upon another. The apostles then question Jesus, and they say, there's a twofold question. They say, when will this happen? And what signs will show your coming and the end of the age? You see, the destruction of the temple didn't fit the apostles' expected vision. They still think that Jesus is somehow going to establish his earthly kingdom here very quickly, and he's going to free them from Roman oppression and those types of things. And so the temple being destroyed doesn't fit well into their thinking. Now, as Jesus gives this Olivet Discourse, he kind of ignores their first question. When? When will this happen? It would have been really easy for Jesus to say in AD 70, when the Romans come and knock the thing down. But he doesn't tell them that. He goes on to answer their second question about the signs of his coming. It's actually the longest answer that Jesus gives to any question that is ever asked him throughout the scriptures. You can find that answer in Matthew chapter 24 and in 25, those two chapters. I'm not going to give you all the details of that. You should read it today and ponder over it, but it's Christ, starting with the imminent destruction of Jerusalem and giving the apostles the whole eschatological future, right? What's coming and what to look forward to in Christ's return. All of it kind of sums up and leads to Christ coming in glory to judge. In Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 through 33, this is one of the most severe warnings of judgment in all of the Bible. Now, I can't help but be amazed that as Jesus is less than 2 days from dying here, it's Wednesday, he dies on Friday, and he's come to seek and to save his people. He's going to die as the substitute, purchasing his people as his very own. But here, 2 days before that, he gives the strongest warning of how he will come again to judge. When he comes, he will separate the true believers, the sheep, from the unbelievers, the goats, and he will rule and reign as the judge over all of them. Christ's coming to save was amazing, but Christ will come again as the king and the judge.